afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Landscape Canada's second educational webinar with Jeffery Scott. Last week's webinar was a huge success with so many ideas on how to excel your company. I'm really looking forward to today's. Some quick housekeeping items. Everyone will be on mute throughout the webinar, but if you do have any questions, please use the Q&A section found at the bottom of your screen, or you can also use the chat feature. I'm now going to hand introductions over to Leslie Cornell, who is our Landscape Canada Commodity Chair. Amongst the many roles that Leslie does at the CNLA and Landscape Saskatchewan, she too is a business owner, just like all of you. Her business is in landscape construction, landscape design, and she even has her own retail garden center. Leslie, take it away.
Welcome, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our enthusiastic presenter of today's webinar, Jeffery Scott. He is the leading authority on growth and profit maximization in the landscape industry. He grew his landscape company into a successful $15 million multidiscipline enterprise, and he is now devoted to helping others achieve profound success. Jeffery is the founder of the destination company Culture Program, which has been adopted by hundreds of landscape firms across the continent, allowing companies to attract and retain the best employees and build their competitive advantage. Landscape Canada Committee will be pulling 2 names from the participants at today's webinar and sending you Jeffery's book called A Roadmap to Attract, Motivate, and Retain Great Employees. Become a Destination Company. Welcome, Jeffery.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you, CNLA. Let's get started. So we're really here to talk about how we have made it through this year, how we're going to succeed next year. And the limiting factor in all our businesses is people, right? It starts and stops with people. There seems to be enough equipment out there. You can make the money, borrow the money if you need it. And so the limited resource really is people. And so we're going to base the conversation today on the book I wrote, Destination Company, whose name was inspired, really came from Dave Wright, who is the current president for Landscape Ontario. He coined the term in one of our peer group meetings, 10 years ago. And I've written a whole book around it. I'm going to read off the chapter titles real quick. We'll be referencing these on and off as we go here today. So it's based on 7 pillars. Pillar 1 is nurturing your company by making vision an action verb. Number 2 is live a culture of excellence. Pillar 3, treat recruiting like marketing and sales. Pillar 4, values-based hiring and managing. Pillar 5 is people systems first, production systems second. Pillar 6, embrace shared leadership. And Pillar 7, create an ownership culture. And to discuss that here today is our 2 Canadian, very successful landscape entrepreneurs. I know them both personally. Let's start with Doug Taylor. Doug, I think I've known you longer than David. It goes back years and years, really. You've grown a tremendous amount. You have 2 companies, or 1 company under 2 brands, Frontiers Landscape Architecture, Frontiers Design Build, which is part of the magic, what makes you so unique. Could you take a minute here and introduce, tell us what you do and number of employees and anything else you want to add that makes you unique?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. So I started the business in 2008. So I guess we're going on about 12 years. And we started in landscape design build, but then roughly 2015, we branched into whole home renovations. And that's really taken off. So we basically specialize in everything design build, both inside and out. And it's been a really, really good focus for us. And we've been able to kind of develop that niche around design build. So we don't do any maintenance of any kind. We're about 12 staff in total. We do approximately 3 million in revenue, hoping to push to 4 next year. Just west of the GTA, just west of Toronto in Guelph, to kind of serve the Halton and Wellington areas. That's probably it in a nutshell.
now I have to do the math. 4 million divided by 12 staff is 350, 400,000 a person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've innovated, mechanized, whatever we can do to increase capacity, along with whole home renovations and additions comes a lot of subcontracting as well. So that's added to our revenue. Yeah, we try and stay lean.
Excellent. Yeah. You've been in one of my Leaders Edge peer groups for 8 years. I can't remember how long.
I was going to say 9, but yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, welcome, Doug. We're going to learn a lot from you. I love that you have that uniqueness to you. I think every company needs to have something unique that, market facing, that brings value to the market, that helps them sidestep some of the, price competition. You've done an excellent job of that, really.
Right. Thank you.
David, we have also known each other for a few years, and you represent more the commercial side. So this is a nice mix here. David Lammers, both of you are family businesses, right? Doug, you have 2 other partners. One's a brother. And
Yeah.
David, you're a family business as well. So
Yeah.
Garden Grove, tell us what you do, how big you are, and what makes you unique.
So Garden Grove, the one thing that I'm excited about is the 30-year history we have, and being able to demonstrate how we've innovated over the years to become the commercial company that we are now. We weren't this before. So we've come from being a residential design build firm and providing residential care and grown into our commercial systems that we are today. And so Garden Grove went through a rebrand recently. We've now successfully moved forward fully commercial. We no longer provide a residential design build service, and it's now a fully commercialized company. So all of our systems and processes, our clientele, and everything we do is all geared and tailored towards delivering commercial services to our clients.
So what is your role versus your brothers?
So great question. I'm the president and CEO. My brother is my equal partner, and he is the COO of the company, vice president. So I'm very, very responsible for vision, direction, vision casting, sales, and marketing, and of course, always recruiting, right? Always looking for key people for our business. Paul, on the other hand, he's running the company. Simply put, he's running the business.
Excellent.
He's in charge of operations.
I worked with you guys for 1 year, sort of really intensive. We worked through different issues, right? Remember
It was awesome.
The controller you had? Remember that guy? And
oh man, it was great. No, the past shapes the future, right? But you can. Sure. The good thing is you can leave the past behind you.
And you guys have done an excellent job of finding your lanes, right, and sticking to it.
Well said. We found our lanes, and you helped us with that, and so it's great. And Paul manages all our staff as well. I don't manage our people. He does that, so it's really great.
If you have a file of your before and after of your branding, I'll pull it up in this hour. If it's something you can send while we're talking, that would be. It's always interesting when someone rebrands. Like,
yeah.
Conceptually, we all know what that means, but what does it really look like? And so, if you have something to look at, we can take a look at that. So I want to ask you guys each a question, sort of a past, present, and future question. We'll start with the past. Doug, what pillar or technique or aha did you pull from the concepts and become a destination company that really had the biggest impact on your company, on your approach to running the business?
Yeah. Culture of excellence is certainly one that I think has a huge impact in our business. We call it a culture of craftsmanship in-house, but it's the same thing, obviously. So what we found, and it actually was triggered when I ended up partnering with one of my now business partners, James, and starting the whole home renovation division. So what he really brought to the table was that true craftsmanship passion. And I think what ended up happening is it really kind of galvanized us as a team and gave us focus on that core value. And it's really kind of shaped everything else since, from our brand and our marketing. We really speak to that, and that obviously trickles into, sales. It's really heightened our, relationships with our clients, which spurs on to, referrals, or basically a referral based marketing. And it seems as though, from a recruiting standpoint, that's really kind of the icing on the cake that's getting us over some of the recruiting hurdles that a lot of companies seem to be facing, is that culture of excellence. It's attractive, right? People are drawn to it. Anybody that wants to work as hard as we do in this industry needs to have that passion. So we exploit it.
I like how you brought, so you were two brothers and you brought an outsider in, and now you give him credit for helping transform the culture. I think that's an important lesson, that, you want to not be insulated in how you grow the business like that.
Right.
So kudos to you. So how does that manifest? I mean, intellectually, I understand what you're saying, culture of excellence or culture of craftsmanship. So how does that manifest?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's not something that happened overnight. We certainly chipped away at it, and it's just something. It just started to infiltrate really everything we do. As we chipped away at improving our systems and processes, that being drawn to that culture of craftsmanship again shaped those systems and processes. We started putting together quality standards, which just elevated the caliber of our work. And as soon as you start elevating the caliber of your work and really focusing on that, the trickle down effect, as I've mentioned, it bleeds into marketing, recruiting. So it's pretty powerful. But that I think something that ties into that is giving yourself, giving your business the platform to chip away at things, right? So. It was a pretty conscious effort to focus on a culture of craftsmanship, but we needed the Monday morning production meetings and the quarterly team meetings to really keep it in focus and chip away at it constantly. So we've been on this continual path of improvement, again, focused around craftsmanship, and it's really kind of brought us to where we are today and where we're headed in the future. It's not something that, I would say we've achieved. It's a continual improvement.
I love how a value or a purpose never has to change, even though the company will keep changing and evolving, with that core being like a rock. So a culture of craftsmanship, that could almost be a hindrance to doing something new if you're not good at it. So how do you balance that with, you got into something brand new, the home renovations?
Yeah, well, I don't think we distinguish, we would internally, we would talk innovation. So we're very hungry for innovation, and trying new things. And I think, with the focus on that culture of craftsmanship, it gives us a bit of confidence to bite off some of that innovation and try those new things. Like anything, as you gain experience in any situation, that confidence and that experience allows you to tackle it easier, right? So when we're trying to, elevate our capability with respect to renovations or landscape, it's the same thing. We take the same approach. We focus on finding the best materials, finding the best techniques, finding the best trade partners to use. And it's all about that culture of craftsmanship.
I was just thinking when I met you, I think your company did 400,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
Versus 4 million. Great job. So what I'm hearing you say is culture of craftsmanship for you means, a part of it means innovation and constantly pushing the edge. I like that. So David, sort of same question, thinking back, which pillar in the book or technique or, what aha had the biggest impact on transforming how you became who you are today?
Yeah, great question. And kind of segues with what Doug was just sharing. We have to look to values. And, for us being a historical business, we had a lot of history, a lot of background, and have made a lot of mistakes. And, using that background, we had to leverage that. We had to leverage everything we learned. But the thing that we didn't fully grasp was the pillar that speaks to values-based hiring, and those systems that were really developed as a result, the managing systems as a result of the values. So when we even worked with you through this, establishing those values were critical to us being able to then move forward our organization in the rebrand that we started, and so because that goes with the vision. And so as we continued to go through the redevelopment of our brand, the values were very clear. The vision guided us, but the values were very much the key bond that, they were the things that we were going to get behind and that everyone would get behind about who we were going forward. And so that determined how we did all of our hiring, our managing, and how we would lead our systems going forward here. And so that's been really key for us as we build a positive culture here that's built on our values, and really have those like-minded staff and team members that are embracing our values and living them. Yeah.
So you're a 30-year-old company. That's what you said, right? And so
That's
was
correct.
Did you start it, your brother, your dad?
I started on my bicycle, and I was towing, it was me on my bicycle, and my brother joined me. And by the time we were 18 years old, we had about 65 clients.
Was he on his trike?
He was on his Shimano. I had a Rally, he had a Shimano. But we did it together, and we didn't have our first truck until 1997. So the first 7 years we were using bicycles and my mom's car with a trailer. And so we just, through hard work and determination, there's nothing we haven't done. And so that's the root of how it started in 1990.
So old company, oldish. Did the values change? Well, I can't really see.
You can see my gray hair.
Did the values change in that, or like, did you have? Well, yeah, just that. Is it the same values the whole time, or at some point did you do a refresh?
So you know what? The best way to answer that is I believe the values were always there. We just never declared them. And I think that what was key when we declared our values, that was when we started putting pen to paper. And I think that they were always there, right? Everything that we did, our hard work ethic, how we treated people, how we cared for our clients, our motivation, right? Our innovation, all of the things that we cared about and that were governing and leading us, we had to declare those things. They were always there. They just needed to be written down and drafted so that we could then share with our staff. We had to get it out of our heads, right? And that's the thing that had to happen, was getting it out of our minds so that our people knew everything that we knew, and we would share with transparency that way.
I think there's sort of a double-edged sword. You look at some companies, bigger companies, corporations, and they may have values on the wall, but if people aren't living them, then it's meaningless.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if your values are all internal and intuitive, then how does somebody new really, where's the roadmap for them to understand the values? And so it's critical to put it down. As my dad always said to me, if it's not written, it's not real. And so that commitment is key, but then living the values creates integrity. Otherwise it's just a marketing ploy, which means hiring and firing by values.
Correct.
Really shows the company that you mean it.
That's correct.
We
refer back to them all the time. And if there's even a time when our first value is communication. So if I'm not communicating the way that I should be or need to be, it comes right back to me. And so these values guide us. They guide me. They guide my brother and I in our relationship as owners and as brothers. We haven't killed each other, and we're not going to, and those values even guide us. It's about how I treat him with respect. Respect is one of our values.
Yeah.
And so our staff need to see us modeling that as business owners and as leaders, so that there's also the integrity. Actually, integrity is not one of our values. It's throughout everything we do.
Yeah.
But we need to model that as business owners. And I'll be honest, we have not always done that.
No,
but the moment we wrote it down, it became real. And so that reinforces your point.
Doug, how well do you think you three, you're like a triumvirate, how well do you three model? I mean, can you model a culture of craftsmanship and or your values? How do you guys do that? Or how well do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, getting back to cultural craftsmanship as an example, I think you lead by example on that front. And again, I'll give James the credit on that. And he really brought that through. But you can talk to other things, like David has on communication. I think, the most effective way is leading by example, being an open book, and letting staff know that they can talk to you, talk to each other, but also documenting it and, writing it down, making it visual. I think those are probably the two that work well for us and probably the two most prominent.
I was just reading today somewhere that when you join Amazon for the first time, there'll be like a welcome Amazonians.
Yeah.
Placards letting people know that, they're part of the culture. Maybe I read it from one of you guys, actually. That sort of stuck in my head. So let's talk about the present tense. That was the past. What pillar in the book, what technique did you use to get through this year? What did you found was most helpful to you that you had to really rely on the most? Doug, you want to speak to that?
Sure. I'll pull another book in here as well that pairs with yours. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years ago we read The Great Game of Business as part of one of our peer group meetings.
Yeah.
And a light bulb went off for me with respect to the open book management, being transparent, and it really kind of builds upon that ownership culture that you speak to. So what happened and what we've been now doing for the past 2 or 3 years is having quarterly team meetings. So our entire staff meets for a full day quarterly. So we'll meet 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And it's basically from a financial aspect, it's going through financials. So those first couple of meetings were like education on financial literacy, the fundamentals of accounting, to getting into systems and processes and best practices, to getting into what we call parking lot issues, which are just those friction points or improvements that need to be made. So getting that ownership culture really flourishing was very transformative for us. So those quarterly meetings, we have those, and it's amazing the enthusiasm and the buy-in that occurs not only during but for weeks and weeks afterwards. So that type of platform or that level of engagement throughout our company has been critical for us in these difficult months. Just being able to pivot and adapt as a group, as opposed to just myself as a leader and then giving orders, saying this is the decision I've made and this is what we're going to do to tackle these challenging times. It's been a group decision with full buy-in, which is how I think allowed us to pivot faster and pivot probably with more accuracy. So yeah, I mean, I would say that was not only transformative to our business 2 or 3 years ago when we started doing that, but so critical this past year. We're growing in the middle of a pandemic, and I think a lot of it could be attributed to that type of stuff, that type of systems and process that we've integrated.
So open book, one of the downfalls of open book is when, especially in a bigger company, but that's, well, not necessarily true, but in a company with a wide variety of staff, multiple levels, that some guys and gals don't understand the numbers, don't care, can't interpret them, misinterpret them. Look how well you're doing. They look at the top line. And so I'm a big fan of open book, but for every company has to implement it differently, right? It's, we read the book, Great Game of Business, right? But what we need is a great game of business for seasonal companies or landscape companies or for small companies versus large companies, because you have to adapt it to your culture, and as I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
But have you seen any of it backfiring, and if so, how have you dealt with it?
I don't think backfiring is the right word. I mean, it can get uncomfortable. You look at, the level of accountability that you need to gain by being transparent, and it's just like constructive criticism, right? It can be uncomfortable and painful to go through, but the amount you grow and learn and improve because of it is well worth it. So I would say uncomfortable at times, but not any backfiring going on. For the most part, I can't think of an example anyways. We're a fairly small, lean, focused company. So it's been relatively straightforward for us to apply ownership thinking and these quarterly team meetings. The conversations can be fairly concise, but I would have to think that, a larger organization with, more diverse staff, maybe, divisionally, you'd be able to break it down and have, maybe more frequent meetings, divisionally or teams. But then still having that kind of galvanizing full company team meetings, at some point, to talk about values and the high level stuff would also, pull it all together.
You've done an excellent job, Doug, of growing the company where every staff member really pulls their weight, right? There's no hiding, I'm sure, in your company and
Sure.
in a small company, but in your company for sure with your strong culture. How have you managed that challenge of ensuring that the 12th person is as productive as the 4th employee, and any thoughts as you grow this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bit of a gatekeeper or barrier to entry with us because our culture is so tight. Everybody's got that passion for the work, which again is why we focus on that craftsmanship element, right? So, it's funny, and I know what you're talking about. Everybody at Frontiers owns a pair of work boots. Our office manager, he gets out in the field, a day a week at least. Everybody contributes to some aspect. Me less and less these days. The guys actually prefer that I stay off job sites, but everybody has that production role, and it's helped to keep us very lean. We don't have a single staff that is solely overhead, that is solely in the office. So
your office manager's a guy, and the guy gets out in the field once a week.
That's right. Yeah, keeps everybody engaged, knowing what's going on. When he's in the office working on, metrics and KPIs or data entry into, QuickBooks, what have you, he knows what the nuts and bolts are, which at our size has been feasible. Obviously as you grow, that becomes less realistic, but it's made us who we are currently, and we're riding it out as long as we can.
Amen. David, same question. Survival 2020, which pillars have you leaned on, or pillar?
Yeah, so for us, it was very much a vision and making sure that we were doing what you call vision as an action verb. But the tangible of that is, we knew that we needed to get out front and be in front of our employees and be in front of our customers. And so for us, the real driving thing that hit home immediately was we need to get in front of our staff with all of this and get in front of our customers and get face to face with them. And for us, it was an opportunity, and I had a personal interaction already right out of the gate at the end of March with a team member when we had we voluntarily shut down for 2 weeks just to regroup, get organized, and get ready as we went into April 1st. And we made sure that we declared with authority as well who we are as a business, so that if we were going to get in front of our employees and our customers with something, it better be very good. It was a time for us to put our vision in a fresh way on paper, and to really engage our staff and our customers on a whole new level. And it was a way for us to really bring a nurturing and a caring through sharing our vision of who we are as a business and where we're going. Of course, it was in our industry, everyone was excited to launch and no one could launch, right? It was like, oh my gosh, what are we all going to do, right? And so for us, it was a dig in moment to get in front of them with our vision, drafted as an essential statement so that it was very clear who we are, why we exist, right? So we made it very clear, here's why we exist. Here's why you have a job. Here's why you are going to be guaranteed your employment right now and what we are committing to you. And we continue to educate and come alongside. We had weekly, sometimes bi-week or within the same week, two connecting meetings with our team members. And so all through the month of April, and May, we just continue to communicate the vision as it was established as an essential company. We were able to get in front of our clients like never before. We innovated, right? It's one of our pillars. So many companies pivoted and innovated. We did the same thing to make sure we had Zoom meetings quickly. We all did that, right? To bite and dig in and make sure. It was a really good wake-up call, actually, for us to really declare our vision and make a clear stance on why we exist. And it really elevated things to a whole new level that actually set the tone for the whole rest of the year. Everything we did was done with intentionality like never before. And we have actually been able to develop a team that's so engaged right now through this year and a customer retention rate and satisfaction rate that we've never seen. Our sales success rate internally went from 32% to 74% close rate this year alone over any other year on customers receiving proposals and giving go-aheads within 24 hours of receiving them, sometimes same day. And we went from 32 to 74% close rate on everything that we were submitting to our clients. So it made our job a whole lot easier as well. And but it was because, I really believe it was because we were communicating our vision, why we were there for them, and why it mattered to have our service. And so for our staff, why work at Garden Grove? Why are you here? What's our purpose? You are the core team and you are going to be looked after. And then to our clients, the same thing. We're here for you. You are our client and we're going to take care of you. And like never before, we reminded them and we were there for them. And I think COVID has just been a tremendous wake-up call, the challenge of this year. And so for us, embracing the vision as an action verb and just putting it to work for us.
Excellent. I just want to remind everybody listening, if you have questions, put them on the chat and we'll answer them. We'll bring them into the conversation. Also, I'm going to put on the chat a link to my book. Oops, that didn't go to everybody. Hold on. Let me send this to everybody. Give me a second here. So
That did work. It worked.
Oh, it did?
Yep.
Well, so you can go to that link and download this book for free. I know that we're pulling names for hard copy books, but everybody can download it and get a copy of it. So again, put your questions in the chat. We want to hear them. Let's talk about the future, Doug. Looking forward to 2021, thinking about the pillars, becoming a destination company. What are you going to rely on and lean on as you move forward next year?
Right. Well, it's interesting. I don't have to tell this audience that obviously our industry is busy. It's kind of ironic. We're in the middle of a pandemic and we've never been busier. So, with us, we're sold out. We're actually oversold for 2021, selling into 2022. So the challenge for us becomes recruiting, actually. So, if we look at treating recruiting like marketing, this is something that we've been doing for a number of years now, and it's really kind of that paradigm shift from your traditional hiring process to looking at it as more of obviously that marketing approach, but showcasing yourself first and then allowing the talent to kind of come to you and allowing that those people that are cultural fits to come to you. So, we're not trying to, grow leaps and bounds, but just, notch up our capacity a little bit. So we're actively recruiting, a couple couple key staff members that could be a good fit. Also, you can look at recruiting from a trade partner perspective. Because the industry is so busy, there's a lot of subcontractors that are going to be booked up as well. Making sure that they want to work for you as well in case they've got the opportunity to put a pool in for either one of your projects or another company's projects. You need to make sure they're going to choose you. So that marketing perspective really shows, I think, from on our front in our social media, on our website. Some of our posts will be from a sales perspective, trying to get that next lead, but some of them are actually meant for tradespeople, people we might be able to hire, we might be able to attract. Instagram right now is flooded with people that are into that culture of craftsmanship. It's carpenters showing off, this cut they just made, or a manufacturer showing somebody else, one of their contractors doing something innovative. It's flooded with the people that are in our industry and people that have that passion. So making sure your marketing, really shines through with your brand and your culture, and just letting the recruits kind of come towards you through osmosis. That's kind of our plan of attack on recruiting. And yeah, I would say probably 5-6 years now. It's been the way we approach hiring.
So give some more detail to that, because I agree with you that it's important. I agree with you that you've been doing it for a while. But two questions come to mind. What does that really mean, like, to somebody listening who doesn't know you?
Yeah.
And like you said, with Instagram, it's become the norm. So if the norm has moved up, how do you stand above it?
Yeah. So I mean, tangibly, when we're entering into the hiring process and somebody applies, for example, I'm going to pick them up. We're going to go visit a job site so that they can get a sense on the stuff we do. Probably the first time they come and meet with us, it's not going to be to step into my office and have an interview. It's going to be come take part in our Monday morning production meetings with the whole team. So it's kind of that integration into the culture so that we can showcase our systems, our people, the type of work we do. It's really kind of sell us to them first. And if they are high caliber and they're the right fit, they're going to be very interested in working with us. I think if the opposite was the case and they weren't a good cultural fit, they're not going to follow up because they realize it as much as we do. So I think too many people kind of hide their business in the hiring process. It's all about interrogating the candidate and then offering them a position. But I mean, even if you find the right person and offer them a position, what are the odds they say yes? You have to sell yourself as well. So that's where you need to market to these recruits and make sure that the right person finds you.
I'm thinking back, and I can imagine you may have started doing that out of necessity, maybe, right? I'm thinking back to some conversations, and it just goes to show you that you can be a small company and still win out. Plenty of ways to stand up to be different from the fancy office that might attract somebody.
Yep. It's about your values and your vision, for sure.
So how does your work stand out? Is it just obvious to the passionate prospect, or do you have to show them the details? Or like when I'm visiting a job site with you, how does that person see, whoa, you guys are up here?
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think it's our scope of work as well as our innovation and craftsmanship. So I mean, you can look at anything and see that there's a certain level of craftsmanship to it and attention to detail, and just the level of innovation with respect to the materials being used or the equipment or tools being used. Anybody in the industry is going to be attracted to that stuff. What I think really sets us apart is our scope of work. The fact that we are essentially a general contractor. We do landscapes, but we also do whole home renovations. So when we when we take a potential recruit to a job site where we've put, an addition on the back of a home, as well as, a pool and a deck, and all they've ever done is lay a patio and plant a tree. There's that, level of, okay, well, I'm gonna learn something new here. I'm gonna take my game to the next level. So I think that's appealing. It's certainly outside the norm for a landscape, a typical landscape company. That level of scope of work.
So for that commitment of interview, you really have to know you have a good prospect. Am I right that you're careful, you're choosy who you do that with?
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, I typically have, a half-hour phone conversation with a potential candidate that looks good, just to feel it out, make sure that there's mutual interest and it sounds like it's a cultural fit. And then that job site visit, or that visit to our Monday morning production meeting is usually the second to third step.
Sort of a interesting self-fulfilling prophecy with, if you add one person, that person's going to add 300,000 or more in revenue. And so you've got to be really careful choosing the right person, but it's also a self-fulfilling prophecy. If any company chooses the right person, they can have that dramatic impact on revenue.
Yeah.
So David, oh no, one more thing for you, Doug. I think when you started off, your network really helped with recruiting, right? You were younger then, even younger then. You guys had your alumni connections. So you're getting older. You may or may not still have those connections. I'm assuming you use a lot more social media now.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite technique that works in getting people to be attracted to give you a call?
I think it's everything put together. I don't think there's any, it's because we're so small, we're not adding staff constantly. I wouldn't say that there's enough staff being added that I could see a trend, but it always seems to be, seems like they fall out of thin air, and it's not any particular system that really does it. It's just somebody stumbles in the door, and again, it's that cultural fit. There's passion. There's the willingness to want to improve.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we focus on, and where it's been successful. So I'm sorry, I can't attribute it to any particular hiring strategy, but we use everything from Indeed to social media to simply spreading the word, and it's hit and miss.
How many social media posts, this is gonna be a tough one, in total do you think your company does in a year?
Well, we try and do one every day. So, probably a good 300.
But is it multiple people doing posts every day?
Yep. There's 3 of us that share the responsibility.
And are they posting on a company page or also their private pages?
Nope, just the company page.
Got it. Okay. All right. So David, looking at 2021 for you, what pillar is going to be important for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting, and this is kind of the opposite now of where Doug is coming off of, for not hiring every day, or hiring all the time, right? And not even necessarily having a particular process in place. For us, having been that design build company that we were, and having a product that we used to sell to our clients or build for our clients, we're no longer building anything for our clients. We're delivering service to our clients. We are bringing them results through not a product, but our people. Our people are our product. And so for us, 2021 is going to be a continuation of what we're building in 2020, which are our people systems. We already have our recruiting, like we're marketing for sales. We have our recruiting marketing systems down pat. You've seen some of that recently on LinkedIn. We are building a professional team here, and we're giving them the vision for the future. We want to make sure that our staff are looking to join, not only our business today just to shovel snow or to plow snow or to cut grass, they're joining our company to actually help us create and build something that's very exciting. And that's a client portfolio. It's a portfolio of landscape and snow clients where we are maintaining facilities and improving on these assets. So our MO is that our staff understand that they're joining us for the future and that we are delivering results, that we are about producing the results that our clients are paying us to do. That's our product. You know, we recently hired 35 more staff. So, you know, within 2 months, we knew we needed 35 more staff to start November 1st. And so you can imagine we need to have a solid recruiting system that's bringing in hundreds of candidates that were literally hundreds of candidates have applied to our company in the last 90 days, hundreds. I can tell you it's almost close to 500. And we would whittle that down and through pre-screening process to ensure that we were then pre-screening the right candidates and then those who would come for interviews and those that would be offered opportunities to join our business. But those who were offered the opportunity to join us were the cream of the crop. And they were the ones who accepted the offers as well. So when we look to our 2021 strategy, the pillar of systems, right, our people systems, right, before productivity, we can't produce unless we have our people systems in place. If we don't deal with that, we're going to deliver terrible results in the field. And so our people systems are going to be critical as it falls under training and safety and to deliver quality. And of course that builds culture. And so we're looking at the pillars of all the things that we are going to be doing with our people systems for 2021.
How has the commercial landscape niche been in Toronto this year?
It's been very active. Of course, we are in a development boom here still. The GTA is a very sought after region for commercial developers who are building corporate campuses still and distribution facilities. And there's still a lot of purchasing happening. There's a low vacancy rate in the commercial sector. And so it's a very active market. And the customer is looking for long-term relationships. That's something we've heard this year. They're not looking for short-term. They're looking for long-term value. We don't sell on price, we sell on value. And so we've continued to make that our focus and drive our sales process that way. And so, yeah, the commercial clientele as well have been very engaged in spending at their facilities to not only keep their assets improved, but where they recognize the mental well-being of their staff who are working in these facilities to come into a well-maintained office environment. And actually a few of our clients, there's hundreds of employees that work at these facilities. And our clients, even during lockdown, continued to invest, and they will continue to invest because their values are also aligned with our values. So when we look at the kind of clients that we're working for, they align with who we are. If they don't align with who we are, we politely have exited the relationship. And so over the last year as well, we have politely exited.
How does one know that they don't align? What's the telltale sign?
We look back to how the client aligns with our corporate values.
But how do you know?
It's through communication, right? It's do they communicate the way that we are communicating with them? You know, we want to make sure that if we want to have a 15-minute phone call to discuss something, if they're not willing to chat with us about that, that's a problem. We want to communicate. We want to over communicate. You know, we're about delivering results. We market that in our recruiting that we will deliver results. Join Garden Grove because we're about your success. Your success means we're bringing results to our clients, and we can only do that through investing in our people.
So, David, is it really about, I'm just going to ask what some people might be thinking. Is it that they won't pay the value-based price, or is it that they won't invest in the relationship?
Wow, that's interesting. It's both. They're not looking to invest in the relationship because they're about price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to them, you can hear the signals.
Correct.
Is that the same with you, Doug? What is it different?
No. I mean, you can tell, when we're trying to sell a project or even determine whether a client is a good fit for us, we're talking about things like performance-based construction. We're talking about how it costs more to build something properly, or to use innovative materials and techniques, it costs more. So if they're not in alignment with that, there's really not much point in us being their contractor. That fit is critical.
When I think about your business, Doug, on the one hand, I could think, man, you've got such an untapped potential. On the other hand, I could think, wow, what you do is so customized. I wonder how many people want that. Where is it? Well, and so where is it? Is it enough, or is it, man, there's such room to grow? And how do you view your market?
I think the ceiling's wide open.
Yeah.
It's to the level we can find the right people for our team. I think we could expand indefinitely. But the flip side of that is that because we want to be, to a certain extent, owner operated and have that ownership mentality and that lean company, growth simply in size is not something we're hugely interested in. We would rather sharpen our pencil and refine our craft than grow and grow and grow.
So for both of you guys, what's a tip you'd give the audience who may not have solved the recruiting issue, and they don't have enough people? And let's just say they don't solve that. It's a struggle for all of us, right? But let's just say they're going to have limited number of people. What would your advice be to that contractor in 2021? Let's hear from both of you guys.
Go ahead, Doug. Yeah, I think I'll go first. Sure, why not? In 2021, it's about letting our recruiting processes be informed by who we are, and by I'll give an example. We put a post out that we need more snow shovelers, and snow shoveling is a very specific role, and it's a very important role, but we don't need just a snow shoveler. We wanted to make sure that we could show them the whole picture. And so the goal is join our company, because we're a company that provides essential service. Our industry is an essential industry. And so come on board and be an essential worker, help keep society moving, be part of being a community worker and helping keep things moving and keep things safe. But join our company now and have a future. We're not just hiring through the narrow lens of needing snow shovelers. We're hiring through the macro lens of, we need staff for the spring. We're continuing to grow, and we can't grow unless we have great people. And so join our organization, be part of a well-knit, excited community. Come join something that's real. And so we put right into our wording who we are and what they're joining and what we want them to become part of. And so we just let it all out. And I'd be happy to share with you even in one of the recent postings that we set out, and just some of the wording that's crafted to help the audience understand what it is that they're coming to. What are they applying for, and what's their future?
So overhiring is a definite strategy that many companies take in the spring to figure out who's going to stick. And so it sounds like you do that in the winter.
We start now.
We start
right now.
Doug, what's your take? What would your advice be?
Yeah, I think a certain element of thinking outside the box. Something I really cherish from being part of our peer group is seeing the way other people do things really well. So you can take any number of examples, but sales, for example, figuring out how you can get that salesperson to move from selling $600,000 or $700,000 or $800,000 a year to $2 or $3 million. What types of support or skills or tools in the toolbox do you need to give them to do that, instead of focusing on, I need to hire 2 or 3 more designer or sales staff. Instead of hiring those extra 2 production staff, it's what type of equipment or what material can we ship to to allow those, two-man crews to do the work of a four-man crew. The examples are endless, but I think there's too much of that, traditional thinking and falling into the trap of this is the status quo, and not enough innovation and out of the box thinking, and really flipping the issue on its head and taking different angles at it. So, for me, our Leaders Edge peer group has been instrumental in implementing some of those ideas. But, from an internal standpoint, that ownership thinking and open book management, it's key to get the staff to, have those ideas and bring their perspectives to the table. I can't tell you how many times in the last couple of years that those light bulbs have gone off in our quarterly meetings where, it's coming from where you would least expect it. Somebody pipes up and has another way of looking at something, and we modify a system or process of the business accordingly. So not relying on recruiting. I mean, obviously you can't stop recruiting, but also thinking about how to increase capacity.
Yeah, we have such ongoing conversations on throughput. It's been a fun concept to really explore and push, and I'm seeing more and more ways to talk about it. I just led a peer group meeting right before this, like it was back to back, and it was all day, and we really got into throughput from some different angles. And clearly, Doug, you're like that living example of throughput.
Yep.
But I think it's not easy to understand. I'm not going to even try in the next 2 minutes. And it's a complex, well, mathematically it's simple, but implementing the business, there's really a lot of ways to do it. And I think it's sort of one of those concepts that should be ongoing, and it probably is in your quarterly meetings, right?
Yep.
The implied question of how do we grow our throughput?
Yep.
So we got 2 minutes here. You guys each want to give something you're excited about for the next year, leave everybody with a bit of inspiration. David?
Hey, great question. Yeah, you know what? I think the next year ahead, we're gonna see a lot of movement. I think we're gonna see customers who are highly engaged in what they're having done on their properties, and our staff are going to be embracing opportunity. I think the next cycle that we're coming into now, the next 2021 ahead, is a very engaged cycle. I think that people are going to really blossom. And I think we're going to come out of this 2020 strong, much stronger. They say that what doesn't take you down, right, makes you stronger. And it's these tough times that we grow in. And so I really believe that 2021 is going to be a year of growth personally and professionally for a lot of people.
Thank you, David. Doug?
Yeah, I've just been feeling very fortunate throughout these tough times that we're in an industry that's flourishing. It's, as has been mentioned, it's an opportunity for us to seize the moment and grow, not only personally, but with our business and our industry. We've just got the opportunity to, if you're not going to do it now, if you're not going to evolve and adapt now, then when, right? So I think, the people that really grapple with this challenge are going to be the ones that rise to the top. And it obviously kind of starts with some of the basics we've been going over. But couldn't be more excited and feeling fortunate for the industry.
Excellent, Doug. Thank you. I just want to leave everybody with a couple words. First off, this is truly a profession, and it's as much a profession as you think of it as a profession. So you will attract professionals and you will raise up your people to higher professional standards based on your acknowledgement and your vision of what you do as a profession. So don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just focus on how you're behaving in your personal vision. So I'll say that. Also, what worked 2 years ago isn't going to work this year and into next year. We're really at a major pivot point for the world, for the industry, for the economies. And so if you're not already thinking about how you're going to do things different, new technologies, pivoting the work you do, the way you service your clients, if you're not already in some type of a transition, then you're behind, because really when you're in it, you don't always see the changes, but we're in the middle of a big inflection point. That's the word. And so be looking, not change for change's sake, but where you think we're going and pivoting to, skating to where the puck is going. So I want to leave you with that. And lastly, treat recruiting like marketing and sales. Now we've just said that, right? And it's very common, but that means you're always marketing, right? Everything you do is marketing for your company. Everything, right? Cleaning the trucks once a week, and getting on top of customer service and how you're returning phone calls and what have you. And so the same goes for recruiting. Everything you're doing is recruiting. And so make sure everything you're doing is putting out the signals that you want to put out to the marketplace, and make sure that you are recruiting 12 months out of the year, that you're not just recruiting when everyone else is recruiting, right, in the peak moments, but that you're always recruiting, because a great employee may pop loose from some other company next week. And if you don't have some type of social media or recruiting action going, or networking action, then you might miss that opportunity. So always be marketing, and always be doing a marketing of recruiting in order to attract the best of the best. Believe that you're the best of the best. Bring that behavior in-house and project it out into the world. Thank you, Doug, David. Thank you, CNLA, for having us here. I turn it back over to you for a final goodbye. Leslie.
I have to find my unmute button. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jeffrey and David and Doug. Wow, you guys really bring so many great ideas that all of us watching can replicate in our own companies, like you said. Now is the time to build our relationships with our staff and develop our own company cultures. Remember, we can also reach out to Jeffery Scott to help us become a destination company. And remember, there is a link in the chat for a free digital copy of Jeffrey's book, Destination Company. Also, thank you to all the participants for joining us. This has just been a great webinar. And if you have any further questions or inquiries, please reach out to Anne. Her email is in the chat session. And she's also going to draw 2 people who have won Jeffery Scott's hard copy, and she'll send them out and arrange delivery with you guys. Healthy, happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.